Often we confuse overthinking with problem solving. But what ends up happening is we just sort of go into a loop. We're not really solving a problem. Generally, you would say overthinking is rooted in uncertainty. So we feel kind of vulnerable about the future. We keep trying to solve problems in our head. But rumination is different than problem solving or planning. Problem solving and planning are active coping strategies, while ruminating involves rethinking the situation, analyzing it, replaying it without forming an action plan or feeling a sense of resolution. So sometimes simply recognizing that you're ruminating can actually be helpful, and it can be a good step towards decreasing it and getting on a different track. So what can we do? Distraction may help. So the pull of rumination can be very strong, and selecting activities that are highly engaging and positive so they can effectively shift your attention from overthinking are quite helpful. And that, for example, might be exercise, taking a hot shower, doing a crossword puzzle, or even holding an ice cube in your hand. You might watch a movie, play a game, or anything else that's really helpful, that you find helpful, and it might excite you to do. Another strategy is to start looking at your thoughts as something, okay, well, I can observe them in a non-judgmental way. So you kind of like stop fighting with your thoughts. You can think, for example, when you notice that you're ruminating, you can think to yourself, okay, well, this is interesting. My mind is repeating something. But rather than getting frustrated with yourself for not being able to stop it, you just think, okay, this is interesting. So this might decrease in frequency or intensity because you're not fighting it. Because something that we fight, it sort of pops up more. The example that is often used is trying not to think about a white elephant, for example, and then you can't think of anything else because you focus on that. So if you instead allow yourself to think of the white elephant, you might actually think of it less, or at least not as much, and it might not be distressing either. One strategy that can be really helpful can be planning a dedicated daily rumination time. So scheduling a dedicated time, and even if it's just 5 minutes, when you plan to ruminate, that sounds a bit strange, but the idea is that you start ruminating or worrying at any other time during the day. It's easier to change course if you think to yourself, well, actually, I don't need to think about this right now. I will save it for my designated time later. So when people devote time to ruminating in a focused way, they often find that they can't fill the full time, or they find some resolution at the end of it. So that's a really good strategy to try out. And if you are inclined to maybe meditate or do mindfulness exercises, you can also add that to your coping strategy and maybe to redirect your attention to something like that. Another strategy that might be helpful is write thoughts down instead of letting them circle around in your head. The key is to make sure that the writing is leading to a sense of resolve and relief, rather than adding to more stress and rumination. If you find that this makes things worse, then it's obviously best to try some other strategy. Sometimes talking to someone about the problem and gaining a new perspective might be helpful. Just beware of co-ruminating. So it's extensively discussing and revisiting the same problem and speculating about the problem and focusing on negative feelings that can obviously be exacerbating the problem in general. So I hope you find these recommendations helpful for reducing overthinking. However, if you feel that you're stuck or that your rumination is leading to significant distress, or it's really negatively affecting your life, for example, relationships or work or school, it's always good to seek help from a mental health professional. And sometimes thoughts and memories can keep returning to people's minds because of an experience that was traumatic. So this can be quite different than rumination, and you should really seek professional help specifically for trauma if that is what you're experiencing.